Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about the Book of Boba Fett.
Yes.
We're going to talk about how the Mando out-Boba'd Boba. In fact, a lot of people raving about the latest episode of the Book of Boba Fett, which is basically another episode of The Mandalorian.
That's pretty much what it was, yes.
Boba Fett is not even in the episode.
Nope.
So we're going to talk about that.
Yeah, let's do that.
We're going to talk about it. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. Over 255,000 subs.
Yay!
Thank you so much for the support. We do talk about Disney. We talk about Star Wars, not nearly as much as we used to. I think we've only talked about the Book of Boba Fett like once because we watched the first episode and dipped out because it was boring as hell.
Well, there was that Power Rangers thing.
The Power Rangers debacle. Yeah, where they had the multicolored motorcycles. I'm like, oh my God, this is getting worse. And then we had a friend of ours say, hey, you got to watch the latest episode because the latest episode is really good.
Yes, we did. And it wasn't Book of Boba Fett. It was The Mandalorian.
It was basically the first episode of season 3 of The Mandalorian.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, which was kind of a weird choice. And now there's this discussion as to, whether or not Star Wars, discussion. It's a Polygon article.
Well, that's one thing. But there are several news outlets also saying what we're saying, which is the Book of Boba Fett is failing.
Yeah.
You have to, the best episode everybody's excited about isn't even feature Boba Fett, it's The Mandalorian. And it's because The Mandalorian is what Boba Fett was supposed to be. And Boba Fett isn't even Boba Fett.
Yeah, that's the problem, because this argument is faulty. Basically, yeah, exactly that. The Mandalorian series is what, as kids, we dreamed a Boba Fett show would have been.
I think The Mandalorian's nicer than Boba Fett was.
He's a little bit nicer, but the thing is he's still more hardcore than Boba Fett himself. In fact, spoilers. There's going to be a lot of spoilers in this episode of Clownfish.
Well, spoiler, Mandalorian's in Boba Fett episode 5.
There you go.
I think everybody knows that by now.
The internet spoiled it for you. But Mandalorian, the first scene he's in, he's kicking all kinds of ass.
Yeah, just like Boba Fett would have.
Boba Fett would have completely wiped the floor he acts like we expected Boba Fett to act.
You even point out, Boba Fett in Mandalorian Season 2 behaved like Boba Fett compared to what we're getting in the Boba Fett show.
Yeah, people were really excited when Boba Fett turned up in Season 2 of The Mandalorian. And he got the helmet back on, he got his armor back, and it was like, holy shit, he's kicking all kinds of ass. This is the Boba Fett that when we had our action figures, we imagined. Fast forward to the Book of Boba Fett, which we thought was going to be more of that. And we just get some older dude kind of piddling around Tatooine, non-violent.
Talks all the damn time.
Talks all the time. He's a kinder, gentler Boba. It's not Boba Fett. He's
Boba Tea now.
He's Boba Tea. That is it. He has become Boba Tea.
Sweet and gag me. It depends, because I've had some of his Boba balls and they're nasty. Anyway.
It's like having balls in your mouth.
Pretty much.
That's what the Book of Boba Fett is. It's like having balls in your mouth when you don't want balls in your mouth.
It's bad. This article, I'm going to bring up for a minute because it's so flippin' hilarious. Well, it's long because it's the author, getting off to himself talking as usual.
He likes balls in his mouth?
No, I don't know.
He likes his own balls.
He doesn't like nostalgia. He hates nostalgia. And he's going on about basically the Book of Boba Fett is a rebuke to the Star Wars nostalgia, which we're going to get there in a minute.
Okay.
But this whole article is about, how Disney needs to turn away from the old Star Wars and go to the new Star Wars. And then he's so happy with episode 5 because it's focusing on the Mandalorian to take you to the new Star Wars, which isn't exactly true, which we'll talk about in a minute.
Oh, it's not true at all.
And he goes on about, now this person also loved Last Jedi. Thought The Last Jedi was a giant, exciting, thrilling, step away from traditional Star Wars. So anything that goes away from traditional Star Wars, this person hates. He compares the Book of Boba Fett into Star Wars media history like passing a gallstone. And then he goes on, as you can see, on.
Oh
and
my
on,
God.
And on. If you want to go read this, knock yourselves out. I already did. On. And on. And of course, they bring up the biker gang, which disturbs some longtime fans who thought this wasn't Star Wars. It basically, he hates anybody that's an old school fan. Goes on. And then he goes, for all the wars fought over The Last Jedi, who this guy loved, my main takeaway is that both sides are right. That's what he says. Then he says this. It's an exceptional drama called from Star Wars canon. No, No, it wasn't. That's why all the shows went off the deep end. Everybody quit going after Last Jedi. And would have made a great trilogy starter. So he's mad because Rian Johnson didn't get his trilogy. But when dropped into the middle of J.J. Abrams' 2 nostalgia-fueled movies, Rian Johnson's reimagining kills existing momentum. And he goes on about how it was proven because people didn't go see the Solo or The Rise of Skywalker. Here's the thing. The reason people didn't go see Solo or The Rise of Skywalker is because they were so pissed off at The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
They didn't go. Last Jedi did really well for the first week, and then it fell off a cliff. By the time they hit Rise of Skywalker, people like this dude who were effing pissed, they walked back their genius Rian Johnson's vision, didn't go because they were mad about that, and everybody else didn't go because they were mad about The Last Jedi. That's why it failed.
So here's what's so. I mean, this is like the most wrong article ever on this. The reason The Mandalorian is winning back old school Star Wars fans, or did win back old school Star Wars fans, is it beats the nostalgia drum hard.
It feels like classic Star Wars.
So many nods to the original trilogy, so many nods to the animated series, so many nods to expanded universe. It is one giant nostalgia fest. That is why, and they even brought Luke Skywalker back and gave us the Luke Skywalker we wanted.
It feels like classic Star Wars. Like the Disney sequel trilogy did not.
No.
And this it felt like classic Star Wars. Boba Fett's failing because it does not feel like Boba Fett.
No, it's not Boba Fett at all. It's Boba Fett in name only, and it's actually, I mean, I could almost argue that they've done Boba Fett dirtier than Luke Skywalker because at least I don't know. It's
I don't know about that. They keep let's put it this way: they keep doing classic characters dirty.
They do,
and they're trying to use because you have to kill the past. That's what this dipshit says.
So I just want to bring this up. For all the talk of like, oh, it was refreshing that we're going forward in a new direction. This episode with The Mandalorian was the most nostalgia-laden fan wank episode in the history of this show. Like, it was nostalgia. Like, they brought the Naboo starfighter back, which I've always liked the Naboo starfighters.
It's true, he has.
Our ferret used to like the Naboo.
Tai loved him.
He did. My Tai was your ferret.
My ferret. I named him My Tai.
I adopted him. We got married, but he loved. I had a Naboo starfighter, and he loved it. It made noise, so I used to drive it around. And my starfighter had little ferret teeth. So if you find a used Naboo starfighter with ferret teeth marks in it, that was probably
Tai's.
That's probably Tai's.
It was yours, but it became Tai's.
He tried to drag it all over the place. God, he loved it. But I always loved the Naboo starfighter. They went so hard on nostalgia in this episode. It was ridiculous. I mean, we even had one of the Rex droids from Star Tours show up. I mean, his whole argument falls apart. This episode was nothing but fan service. Nothing. I mean, the Mando even says wizard after he flies the freaking thing through the Beggar's Canyon like a pod race.
Right, and there was a womp rat in Beggar's Canyon.
There's a womp rat. I mean, come the fuck on. That being said, I actually like the episode, but Amy Sedaris and her jokes about fucking a Jawa.
Well, she didn't. Did she say that? She said she dated one.
She dated one. They're too furry. And she mentioned it like 8 times. Like, oh, God, they're furry. I hate fur. It gets everywhere. It's coarse. Gets everywhere. If you know what I mean, ladies, the fur gets everywhere. That really took me out of it. But, I mean, this whole thing was one big fan wank. And even, a lot of comparisons to Halo, with the ring.
Right. Well, not just that. When you saw the buildings up close, it looked like the Death Star, like the trench run, the shapes and stuff were very similar to that. Yeah,
I mean, they went out of their way to make this feel like classic Star Wars. Even I noticed when the characters were walking against the stars, the background, they looked like they could have actually been, kind of cut out like the old compositing way. I mean, there were a lot of things in this. They made sure they had a practical starfighter, an actual physical, not a CGI.
Right. I was thinking about when he was on the vehicle and there was the little kid Greedo. They had to make sure they put a Greedo type character in there. I forget top of my head what species they are. I'm not looking it up. Rhodians, yes. I wasn't going to look it up right now because I'm not feeling well. I don't feel like looking it up. But they even went as far as that, because, Han shot first, and all that.
This was the most wankiest fan wank I think that they've done. I mean, there always have been nods to, the classic in Mando for sure. But this one, especially the fact that they're getting into the prequel era, and I think part of it is I think in some way they're trying to redeem the prequels, and they're also trying to get people ready for Obi-Wan, which is going to roll back to the Clone Wars. And
which this person in that Polygon article crapped on that too. He said, well, they're on Lando and Obi-Wan, and they're going to have to try to avoid the same missteps into falling into nostalgia.
So how can you say that Star Wars is looking forward with The Mandalorian when this episode is nothing but fan service?
Well, even The Mandalorian felt like classic Star Wars.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why people liked it. There was a lot of nods to the original trilogy and stuff, and that in The Mandalorian. So you're kind of, full of crap. And then the reason...
Kind of?
Yeah. Well, I'm the one that pointed it out to you. What are you talking about?
Your argument is completely faulty.
And then they're talking about the Book of Boba Fett failing. And the Book of Boba Fett isn't failing because of nostalgia. The Book of Boba Fett's failing because the character doesn't act like Boba Fett at all. And there's many outlets out there being like, what the fuck are you doing to Boba Fett? Sorry, Mom. Because he doesn't even act like himself. Even the actor playing him said, this isn't Boba Fett, I'm talking too much. He wouldn't talk this much.
Yeah, Morrison seems like he's disappointed because he's probably looking at this like, he remembers what he did in season 2 of The Mandalorian. He's like, yeah, I want to do that, but like a whole series. That's awesome. And then for whatever reason, Disney thought it was a good idea to turn him into this guy.
Uh-huh.
It's
like they're trying to ruin him.
Yeah, it's like they turned him into Mel from Alice. Do you remember Alice?
No, but you know why? Well, we couldn't have two big Mandalorian type characters. The Mandalorians are bread and butter now. If Boba Fett outshines the Mandalorian, what are they going to do?
Yeah, I think people would be totally okay with two kick-ass Mandalorians.
I think they would be too, but I think they're afraid it's going to take away from their Mandalorian, which was supposed to be the Boba Fett movie to begin with, by the way.
Yeah, so The Mandalorian is basically the Boba Fett we all wanted as a kid. Now, I mean...
He's a little bit kinder, gentler than Boba Fett. But
yeah, a little bit. He's Boba Fett with a heart, But, I mean, still, like, the shit he's doing is the stuff we imagine, because, Boba Fett got very little screen time, but the shit he's doing, like cutting down all those guys and all this shit, like, that's the stuff we picture Boba Fett doing.
But Boba Fett... but Mandalorian, though, in a lot of the episodes, he didn't do that. Like, he did here and there, but basically, he was watching over a kid the whole time.
Yeah.
It was like, let's be honest here. If you took Grogu out of the Mandalorian, would the Mandalorian be as popular as it is now?
No, because Karens love Grogu.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm just saying. But, it feels overall like old school Star Wars, and you do have him acting more like Boba Fett than Boba Fett does. And that's a problem.
Yeah, that's a huge problem. I mean, I was hoping for it, and I think, this could also be the Disneyfication, because the only way to give people an actual Boba Fett is to have this guy be a freaking badass. I was hoping this would be like the Sopranos of Star Wars, and it's not.
Well, they could turn him from a badass to a kinder, gentler person, but it doesn't happen. Like, they didn't even give a story leading up to it. It's like, okay, backstory was, he was in the pit, and now because all this stuff leading up to here, now he's kinder, gentler, or whatever, and that's why he's who he is today. Okay, yeah. But the thing is, it's a rough first episode. He was already starting that he wasn't Boba Fett anymore. And then, even then explain why he was back to kind of being himself in The Mandalorian season 2.
Well, like I said, I think his testicles got digested first in the Sarlacc pit. Mm-hmm. And I understand Disney, they want to make sure that, we can't just have a badass bounty hunter character.
Yeah, you can.
It would be incredibly popular if you did, because nobody wants to see this version of Boba Fett. I mean,
well, we already have a kinder, gender Mandalorian, and that's Mando. Can we just put Boba Fett to be Boba Fett? Yeah,
I want to. Again, if this show had been like The Sopranos in space, I'd be like, hell yeah, this is awesome. Like Boba Fett's going to go out and he's going to, exact his revenge and kick ass. Instead, he's just like, negotiating treaties with this person and that person and petting his rancor. Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, there's the euphemisms there. But anyway,
stroking the beast.
Yeah, Beast is limp now, man. That's all I'm saying. It's just...
After slipping in the Sarlacc.
Okay, you can stop. I would laugh more, but I'm not well today. So we're at a point now where the episode that everybody's raving about, the episode everyone is excited about, the episode that everybody says was the best episode of the whole series, is pretty much a Mandalorian episode and not a Book of Boba Fett episode. He isn't even in it.
I know.
At the end, there's no point to it.
There's no point.
Fennec Shand shows up and says, hey, Bubba wants to hire you. He said he'd do it on the house, but he has to go see someone first, meaning Grogu. And then he leaves.
It literally is. And then what happens if you don't watch the Book of Boba Fett and you start watching season 3 of The Mandalorian. And this episode is basically season 3, episode 1.
Yeah, because you find out why he's not part of the group anymore, why this isn't the way, and the armor, and the Baby Yoda, or Grogu's armor, and all
He's
this other
always
shit.
going to be Baby Yoda.
Yeah, sorry, he is. You have all that you're not going to understand. It's what they're trying to do, I think, is they're trying to connect it. So in The Mandalorian, they'll probably have a Boba Fett episode or something to try to push it back to each show. And it's not working because all you did was just completely upend Boba Fett.
Yeah.
People were already like bored out of their mind. Now they're excited about the one episode he's not in.
Yeah.
Not a good look.
No, it's not a good look. And part of me is like, are they deliberately trying to sabotage Boba Fett? And I mean, this is a wild, because a lot of people talk about how they think that Disney is trying to distance themselves from the classic Star Wars characters to have,
but make you hate Boba Fett. So you're like, oh, but I want Mandalorian.
Yeah,
not Boba
Mandalorian's
Fett.
our creation. We don't have to. You know what I'm saying?
I
mean,
don't know.
There's this whole. I don't know the legality of it. I mean, my understanding is George Lucas sold the whole damn thing, and they get royalties from every damn thing that's in Star Wars. There's so much of it that's derivative, you know. But it's almost like, yeah, we want you to not like Boba Fett, so the Mandalorian looks better by comparison.
I have no idea. All I know is, you know, at the end of the day, the argument isn't valid because it's not about nostalgia being bad. The reason people like the show isn't because they're against nostalgia. This episode was full of it. They're against the show because Boba Fett isn't Boba Fett.
Yeah, and it could have been great. I mean, this could have been great. It's a great, like, I would love to see, like, the darker side of Star Wars. Hell, I would love to see, like, an M-rated Boba Fett show and just be like, yeah, he's a badass bounty hunter.
Like, why he ended up being the bounty hunter. Why was Vader telling him no disintegrations, you know? And
because
stuff
we
like
saw this motherfucker disintegrate a shit ton of Jawas and Ewoks and maybe not Ewoks, because...
But Vader's even, like, using him but not wanting to use him and, like, you know, laying the smack down to keep him in line. That tells you something.
When Vader is telling this guy not to go too far...
Then you know he was awesome.
I want to see the prequel series with Vader hiring him for other gigs, and Vader being like, "Whoa, what the hell is up with this
Vader
guy?"
thinks you go too far.
Yeah, that's a Boba Fett I want to see. M-rated, you know, freaking.
I don't know, but they've already like messed it up for whatever reason.
Slaughtering all the Gungans.
But the idea that nostalgia is a problem and the fans don't want nostalgia is a complete load of shit because this episode was chock full of it.
It's freaking Polygon. I swear to God, they get paid by the word.
Oh, this person clearly did. It
was like 7,000 word essay on The Last Jedi and blah 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 blah.
Both sides are right. But my examples of both sides being right is proving that I'm right about Last Jedi. You know what I mean? I can't believe that they're saying that Star Wars needs to move beyond nostalgia when this literally was the most nostalgia bait episode. Oh, I know. I just thought it was really funny though. This gets me. This comment here though about from both sides are right. It's an exceptional drama called from Star Wars canon and made a great trilogy starter. But when it dropped into J.J. Abrams movies, it wasn't good. How does that make both sides right? That makes your side right. You're saying that Last Jedi was a great movie, but it was dropped in between Abrams movies, and they shouldn't have gone for nostalgia. That's only one side, dude. That was your side. That's not both sides. That's not both sides of the argument at all.
Actually, you know, I will kind of sort of give them that. If that was the first movie and they went looking for Luke Skywalker and they found Luke Skywalker in the first movie and he was a crabby old bastard, but by the third movie in the trilogy, he was Luke Skywalker again.
No, but his two sides are basically his side. He loved Last Jedi. He thought it was great and thrilling that it moved away from Star Wars and ruined the old Star Wars.
Yeah.
And then the people that were mad about it being dropped between J.J. Abrams films were people who liked Last Jedi. Because most people didn't go to Rise of Skywalker because they just didn't care after The Last Jedi. So that's only one side of the argument.
No,
that's not looking at both sides. That's looking at his side, saying it's both sides of the argument.
I think that he's making sure he gets The Last Jedi in this article because
he can't let it go. Let the past die.
No, clicks.
No, let the past die. Kill it if you have to.
Kill it if you have to. But then we know what happens when you let the past die. You get the freaking Power Rangers.
All right, let's wrap this up.
We're wrapping this one up. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk later.
Bye.